Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. This episode of the Tatiana Show is brought to you by Vaultoro. Vaultoro is a gold hedging solution for the crypto community. One of the challenges of investing in cryptocurrencies is dealing with volatility. Keeping a diversified portfolio is a key to healthy returns. I keep about 10% of my crypto assets in gold using Vaultoro. Vaultoro allows me to open a gold wallet in seconds where I can easily trade with cryptos and gold. What I like about using Vaultoro instead of Tether is that the gold in my Vaultoro wallet is insured, audited, vaulted in Switzerland, and unlike fiat money, gold has increased in value for the last 20 years. Visit vaultoro.gold/Tatiana today and get zero trading fees for the first 3 months. That is vault, like a gold vault, and oro, which is Spanish for gold. Vaultoro, ole! Hey guys, have you heard about the Haven app from the guys over at Open Bazaar? Download Haven now for iOS and Android. Go to gethaven.app. Haven is the world's first privacy-focused shopping application for iOS and Android devices. Why use apps that spy on you? Shop, chat, and send cryptocurrencies privately using Haven. Haven gives you a shopping marketplace, social posts, private chat, and a powerful cryptocurrency multi-wallet all in one mobile app. Download Haven now for iOS and Android. Go to gethaven.app. That's gethaven.app. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. I'm taping this episode as a special Saturday, September 7th, 2019 episode, and it is regarding the Hurricane Dorian that's kind of ripped through the Caribbean. We're going to be talking with somebody who's down on the ground right now and who's lending a hand, so to speak. But before we get to that, I just wanted to say hi to everybody. How's it going? It's nice to be talking with you. The Tatiana Show airs on Tuesdays, but we're doing this special one on Saturday. And I just want to make sure that we are saying thank you to our wonderful sponsors. Thank you so much to Haven. The Haven app is now one of our sponsors, but we also did an interview with them on the Tatiana Show a few weeks ago, completely unrelated to that. And we talked with Washington Sanchez a couple months before that. So check out those old shows at thetatianashow.com, and also make sure you download the Haven app. Check it out. And also our good friend Josh from Vaultoro is also sponsoring the shows now because they've got a lot of launches coming up. So make sure you go to vaultoro.com/Tatiana, sign up for your account. And now without further ado, I'm excited to be welcoming Lucas Metropulos to the Tatiana Show for the first time. He is the founder and board chairman of Hand Bahamas. It was founded in 2014 by him. It's a registered Bahamian nonprofit organization, and they're working mostly on community development in Nassau. And they have a community center where they have educational programming for the youth, after school weekends and summers. And there's also work with the adults in the community. But he's going to tell us what's been happening with the storm there and what kind of relief they're offering. And they're even partnering with a good friend of the Tatiana Show, me personally, Tatiana, and of course, Crypto Media Hub, our other sponsor and media partner. Connie Gallippi and Bitgive are working with them with their Give Track program. So if you go to givetrack.org, it's the first thing that they're just launching right now. So take a look over there, and you can also check out more information. Thank you so much, Lucas, for joining us today, or joining me. We are now in us. Thanks so much, and making the time on a Saturday morning. Tell me what's going on.
It's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me. Yes, it's a pretty terrible situation following Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas, primarily for the islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama. So through Hand Bahamas, which, as you mentioned, I'm deeply involved, we're actually headquartered in Nassau, Bahamas. But following the storm, obviously we've done projects in Abaco and in Grand Bahama. So following the storm, our donors as well as our board and staff really wanted to find ways for us to go ahead and get involved in the relief effort and just try to bring as much resources as we can to these islands, to the great people on them. So since the storm hit, we've been monitoring it closely. We've been following up with our people there.
When was that? When did the storm hit exactly?
September 1st.
Okay. So it's been about a week of this.
So,
okay.
Yeah. And it's been hard because once all the communication lines went down, we're just still getting bits and pieces of all the real damage. Even the death toll every day starts to go up and up as more and more people on the ground are finding more and more people that have passed. But besides that, the infrastructure is largely destroyed. The drinking water is becoming less and less usable. There's a large evacuation going on, primarily in Abaco. Most people are being evacuated to the capital of the Bahamas, Nassau. So that's where, with us, we have been looking at how do we appropriately assist in the way we know how. And most of the work we've done is more educational programming. At the same time, we do have a lot of connections, say, in the States that want to help out and send relief items. So we've been balancing the two. So right now, we're really focused on collecting relief items to send primarily to Grand Bahama. There is evacuation to Grand Bahama as well, but not as much as Abaco. So we're sending most of the supplies to Grand Bahama via container as well as plane. And then we're also going to be sending supplies now, instead of to Abaco, to Nassau, to help those people who are taking in evacuees, to give them resources, as well as to give the government resources too, to help out with a lot of the influx. And there's thousands coming, and the island's not that prepared to host that many people.
Let me ask.
So good.
I want to ask you something, like from a practical perspective, right? I know people, my mom has a house in the Bahamas. We've been there for many years, and, sending things there has a high tax. Do they suspend those kind of taxes and stuff like that during this kind of an effort? Because how are you guys, I'm sure you have volunteers on the ground that are actually boxing this stuff and sending it. Like, how is it physically getting there, and where are the bottlenecks? Are there any, or can anybody bring in stuff right now? Can people mail it directly, or does it have to be through somebody in Florida, for example?
Yeah, I mean, what's happening is right now, so many people want to help. And so there's even rogue fishermen coming over from South Florida right after the storm that wanted to bring support, wanted to bring supplies, and they're running to Abaco. But it was a pretty dangerous situation, whether it be debris or just some lawlessness that was going on in the immediate aftermath of the storm. But right now, the government has basically suspended duty and VAT, so value-added tax charges. So they signed an exigency order basically for approved items. So there's about 11 or 12 items, maybe less, of approved items like cots, tents, water, food, some vital items. They basically said, listen, send it in, just give us a list of the items and you're good to go. That's only in effect for, I believe it's 30 days or something like 2 months, I think, max. So once that order is done, then they'll begin imposing again. But I feel as though once they realize, I mean, there's going to be a huge need for months and years to come. So I feel like they will probably extend that. But they do it in order to, because in previous hurricanes, people have used it. People use it as a window to get in other items duty free. So that's why they kind of try to restrict the window, obviously immediately after the storm.
Wow. Okay. So what is the plan in the future? Like, you have a background and an interest in blockchain and cryptocurrency. Maybe tell me a little bit about that. And are you incorporating that into community education? I think that certain technologies would be really useful. I've been seeing articles about mesh networks providing internet. Has there been any exploration of that right now, or is everybody in full-on disaster mode? And maybe this might prompt that kind of an interest. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's in disaster mode still. But I certainly think, for blockchain, the use cases are huge for an island like the Bahamas or for the Caribbean in general, as many people know. But for me, yeah, my interest in blockchain is I'm really interested in its kind of cross section with philanthropy in general and disaster relief. I think it's huge implications and can really help, because right now, I mean, if you think about all these aid organizations, I mean, us included, getting all these supplies together, and there's always kind of criticism of disaster relief. And is it going directly to the people? But at the same time, there's safeguards in place. And I think blockchain has an ability to kind of restore trust, very much so, in a lot of donors out there that are kind of hesitant to support so many different efforts. But besides that, yeah, I mean, the Bahamas in general, there's huge use cases for blockchain.
So you've decided to do some of your fundraising through Bitgive. I was really happy to see how quickly you guys were able to ramp it up, and it's through GiveTrack. Can you tell me a little bit about how the cryptocurrency community is being encouraged to participate in that?
Yeah, no, it was great. we got a message from Connie, and she connected us with someone who worked on her staff, Jay, and they worked really fast to get this campaign up. And I worked with one of our fellow board members, Marvin, who we just all worked together on this project. But no, it's great because we really wanted to appeal. I think Bitgive is a great platform to really push, not just saying, hey, send us your Bitcoin, here's our address, but look at this campaign, look at our goals, make sure it's a viable project, reach out if you have any questions about it. And this, if you look at the campaign, again, it's about 10% focused on actual physical relief items and more so focused on the educational component afterwards, which means, as I was saying before, our staff in Nassau, some of them are coming up to Grand Bahama, and then we're going to be running programs through a community center in Grand Bahama that we'll be setting up as sort of a temporary shelter. Most of the schools in Grand Bahama, Abaco, they'll be closed for months, if not years. So a lot of these kids are in transition. For the ones who are evacuating to Nassau, they're going to try to find them ways to fit into the existing schools, but it's still not going to be good enough. And in Grand Bahama, it's going to be a much different situation. So most of this campaign, the funds will go towards actually funding our educators and the staff we bring in for materials as well, towards building out educational programs for the kids.
So more specifically, what do they learn? Like, what is it that you guys are focusing on a day-to-day? Because it's been going on for a while. What have you found that's effective, and what do you think are the greatest needs there?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of education, literacy is terribly needed improvement on. So we've noticed in Nassau with our kids, I mean, we have about 120 kids right now that are from one of the most disadvantaged areas of the Bahamas, right in Nassau. And their literacy levels, I mean, you have kids who are in 11th grade reading at a 3rd grade reading level. And so we've seen that trickle into a lot of the other programs we want to do, because if they can't read, it affects their ability to do a lot of other initiatives. But I'd say literacy skills, numerical skills, we're focusing a good amount now, and some of this funding on Bitgive will go towards as well for some counseling efforts following the storm. We have a lot of counselors that have volunteered with us, that are connected to us, that want to help out. And it's going to be a huge need. Some of these kids witnessed family members drowning in front of them. Some were trapped in attics and watched, again, just totally traumatized. So before we even look at some of these educational programs, we will be providing counselors in both locations to assist the kids and their families. But besides that, we're going to, in Nassau for sure, we're going to integrate some of the kids into, like this year, we're really pushing for computer science and computer skills. So we actually are having fiber optic cable laid to our community center, and we're really trying to build out those programs. Again, we have to start at the basics. A lot of these kids have never used a computer before, so we're starting at the basics and then moving out. I know they've been doing a computer animation class. So yeah, just a lot of really great programs to keep them busy, that are educational, especially as these schools attempt to rebound.
If somebody, this is going to sound maybe a little silly, but what if somebody has, an old cell phone or an old laptop? Can they send that down, or do they have to buy something brand new and then send something brand new?
As a donation, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, they can send that to us. So we also, even outside of hurricane relief, and we have supplies we take over via plane, mostly, unless there's a large shipment of them. But yeah, people can donate phones and computers, and those are always a need. But that's certainly something you can do. Yeah,
I feel like sometimes people have that kind of, the electronics still work and you don't really know what to do with it. I don't know. I feel like it might be really useful. Do you think that the literacy problem is widespread throughout the Caribbean? Do you think it's specific to the Bahamas? Do you think that there's something going on more broadly that can be addressed beyond community education?
I definitely think it's in other islands too. Again, I'm not going to speak for other countries, but just from what I've seen with the Bahamas, I think there's many issues to it. I think the lack of opportunities for many of these teenagers discourages them greatly. Most of the kids I've talked to who are in high school now in the Bahamas in this community, I asked them, like one kid dropped out. I was like, why did you drop out? He's like, what's the point? I don't know. What am I going to do after? Obviously, it's just a whole cycle I'm stuck in. We had one kid, this is interesting. He was 11. we did an art class where we've done a lot of art classes, and we did one class where the artist asked them to express themselves by drawing something. And so he drew a circle, and it's 11 years old, and he drew a circle, and the art teacher asked him, why did you draw a circle? Is it because that's how I feel like my life is? Is it my family always we work hard and we go up and then we circle back down? And it was pretty powerful for an 11-year-old to say something like that. So I think the total lack, and that's why with this community center we built in this area, that was a big push, because this area for years, it's a very historic location, but for years has kind of been a very forgotten community of the Bahamas. And you hear a lot, you visit as a tourist and you go to Atlantis and you go to these other spots in the periphery, but you don't really see what's kind of over the hill, it's called. And so that's kind of where we've been focusing. And I just think, again, I think the lack of opportunity is very much hinders on kids really pushing themselves in school. At the same time, the public school system there just lacks the support it needs to really handle that kind of volume of kids and needs.
Wow. Have you guys thought about having maybe a crypto company sponsor some sort of an educational program there? Or bring in, for example, I don't know, some kind of a wallet company. I mean, that's a really easy example, but a wallet company that would say, okay, we donate $5,000 to the center. And part of that is that, we help the kids get basic cell phones where they can get really basic crypto usage or something. Have you guys explored that at all? And maybe that could be something that would be better long-term. I mean, it's a little bit bad because, okay, now you have that one company in there getting their mitts on the people, but at the same time, I mean, it's resources where they're needed. So what do you think about something like that? Would that be possible?
Yeah, no, we're all for that. So right now we're actually trying to acquire a property across the street, which will be it's basically 2 floors to be focus a lot on computer science. And I love to build in components of blockchain, but also in terms of, so for instance, in many Caribbean countries, but Bahamas especially, the personal banking is just a big issue. So most of these people we work with don't have bank accounts. It makes transactions ridiculously slow and cumbersome. So no, I had one group talk to me about potentially doing something where, but it's the technology. But now with our ability to bring in high-speed internet, it's going to be a game changer because they don't really even need data. Because it's interesting, because what we plan to do, at least in Nassau and some of Grand Bahama too, long term, is to really look kind of block by block and really develop the area. And so there's the ability to put hotspots in there and such to make something like a digital currency, for instance, easy to use as kind of create a whole marketplace, which is how it sort of used to be. I mean, it used to be very, very trade oriented. When there was slavery. In this area in particular, I'm talking about Nassau. I was just talking to someone the other day. It was all just trades. It was, you're a blacksmith, you were a baker. And on the periphery was people were actually exchanging currency. But in this area, in the more inner city areas, it was all just about trading certain things. So the ability is there certainly to look at using digital currency in these communities. So yeah, I'd welcome that kind of support. It's just the right group reaching out.
I like that idea. I'm gonna give that one a think. I'll be there hopefully over the holidays, so we'll have to connect some more. If people want to find out more and they want to contribute, where can they go to? They can go to GiveTrack, right? And then or bitgive.org. But what is the lendahandbahamas.com? No, .org.
.org.
Okay,
yep.
lendahandbahamas.org.
So lendahandbahamas.org to learn more. Mm-hmm. Also, you can check out our social media if you want to see sort of our track record and see a lot of just images of work we've done, mostly educational work we've done in the Bahamas. But yeah, check out the website, reach out anytime, check out the campaign on Bitgive, please share it. Yeah.
Awesome. And I also encourage people, if you are not in a position to work with Hand Bahamas right now, you could do it in a couple months. So keep it in mind for the future as well. But they do need help right now. So make sure you go and visit the site. Thanks once again to our sponsors, Voltoro and Haven. Go to gethaven.app and voltoro.com/Tatiana. Thanks everybody for checking out thetatianashow.com out on Tuesdays, sometimes other days. And make sure you check out proofoflovecast.com, where I'm joined by Dr. Stephanie Murphy from Let's Talk Bitcoin and Lauren Kasovitz, and we talk about matters of the heart. I think the community can use a little bit of emotional intelligence too. So check that out. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye. Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. We gotta think and reflect and use lots of intellect with our hearts when we work together. I know that it can be so hard out there, looking all around and saying that life ain't fair. So that is why we will fight and stay up late at night, listening to the Tatiana Show. Thank you for listening to the Tatiana Show. Please follow us on Twitter at Queen Tatiana or on Facebook and Instagram at Tatiana Moroz Music. More episodes can be found at thetatianashow.com, and make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. The Tatiana Show has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond.